Hello everyone, and today I'll be reading a multi-character ex-listener by me. So let's get into it. Cyno, you lay in the hospital bed, your body battered and broken. Your eyes are closed, but you can hear the sound of a heart monitor beeping steadily beside you. The pain was almost unbearable, but you try your absolute best to keep your breathing steady. You had no idea how it got here, to this point. It was all too fast and too quickly, and all of a sudden, you were in hospital. And suddenly, you hear a commotion outside your room. The door slams open, and you hear someone running towards you. Wayan! He yells out as soon as he sees you, storming into the room, and there are way too many emotions going through him right now. Whoever did this to you is going to pay, Cyno says, his voice shaking with anger and resolve. I promise you that. You try to open your eyes, but they feel heavy. You could barely see the outline of Cyno's face through the blur. It was all too much. Candace, good day, and Tighnari here. We need them. You hear him call out. It just so happened that she was there by his side when he heard the news, and she happened to come with him. She cared about you. You were friends after all. But even through all of this, through the haze of your mind and your blurry eyes, you can make out one thing. Cyno's feelings. Well, there are a multitude of them. Panic, anger, guilt. Each one just more intense than the other. He gets down on his knees, taking your hand in his. I can't lose you, Ion. You mean everything to me. I will do anything to make you better. And as the others arrive, Cyno is a mess. He's barely taking care of himself. Tighnari and Dea have to drag him away and lock you up in a room, just to make sure he takes care of himself properly. Of course, it's less of locking you up and more of locking him away. Candace is always with you, making sure that you're not alone. But Cyno is really losing it. Every moment that you were in pain. And even you didn't want to see him like that. Eventually, once he's calmed down, they let him back in. Cyno doesn't leave your side then. He calls off work almost every day, sleeping and eating beside you. He even does what he can, paperwork, ordering others around, from the hospital room, unwilling to leave you for a single moment. Days pass and finally, you get out of that state that you're in, fully conscious, and he's by your side in an instant, tears streaming down his face. You're awake. You're back to me. He sobs, hugging you so tightly that you almost pass out again. I'm sorry, Mayan, he says, his voice shaky. I couldn't protect you, but I promise I'll never let anything like this happen again. You can trust me on that. You can feel his love for you in every word he speaks, and it takes a whole day until everyone finds out that you've woken up. But Cyno doesn't care. All that matters now is that you're alive, well, and awake. Tighnari, Teyvat was a land of adventure, but that also meant danger. Tighnari knew this all too well, being a forest watcher. You come across a group of treasure hoarders. They immediately notice you and begin to attack. You try your best to fend them off, but one of them manages to get ahead on you before Tighnari arrives. And it just so happens that it's almost fatal. He rushes over to you, his eyes filled with worry and fear. Are you okay? Let me see the wound, he says, as he gently touches the area where you were hit. And God, it looks horrible. And it makes him sick to the very core that this happened to you. He tries to remain in control, to keep those emotions from destroying him. He takes a deep breath and lifts you up into his arms. We need to get you home and take care of this immediately. Tighnari talks a lot on the way, maybe narrating what he's going to do, what he's doing, or just talking to you, begging you to stay awake. He's trying to distract you and himself, trying to keep you awake in any way, focused on him. Because if your eyes closed now, he wasn't quite sure they would open again. And as Tighnari carries you back to your shared home, you could feel the weight of your body against his chest, and not in a comforting way. It scared him. Please, stay with me. Don't close your eyes. You're stronger than this, Wyan. You can get through this. I believe in you, he begged, trying to hold back his tears. And once you arrive home, Tighnari lays you down on his bed and begins examining your wound. I'm a botanist, yeah, so I have some knowledge about healing and herbs. You know, you've seen me do that before. It shouldn't be any different, he says, more to himself than you. He shouldn't panic. He should stay in control and know what to do. But even then, everything feels horrible, like he was losing you with every second. I will do everything I can to make you feel better, he says softly. He spends the whole night taking care of you, applying various herbs and ointments to your wound. Please don't leave me, he whispers as he brushes your hair away from your face. I don't know what I would do without you. As the night wears on, Tighnari tries his best to keep you awake, fearing that you might slip into a coma. He talks to you softly, telling you stories about the plants he studies, the moment that the two of you first met, or maybe how he fell in love with you. I love you so much, he whispers, tears streaming down his face. Please, don't leave me. I need you, Wyan. And finally, you start to stir again and open your eyes. Tighnari's heart leaps with joy as he sees you awake, and he pulls you into a tight embrace, not wanting to let go. Think the Archons are okay, he says, his voice full of relief. He spends the next few days taking care of you, making sure you have everything you need to recover. I won't let anything bad happen to you ever again, he says, holding your hand tightly in his. I promise, Wyan. I'll always protect you no matter what. Albedo. You and Albedo decided to take a trip to Dragonspine to explore the ancient ruins and find some new materials for Albedo's alchemy research. It was a long and tiring journey, but the two of you were determined to try and make the most of it. It was fun at first, and as you walked through the icy terrain, Albedo pointed out various landmarks and explained their significance to you. You loved hearing his voice, the way he was so passionate, and you were kind of amazed of how he knew so much about Dragonspine. But maybe that's what he gets for spending almost all of his time working right there. And as the fun continued, it simply had to be cut off, because suddenly he slipped on an icy patch and fell down a steep slope. Albedo quickly rushed to your side, his eyes wide with concern. You could see the guilt in his eyes, as if he blamed himself for what had happened. Are you okay? Can you move? Albedo asked, his voice trembling. You tried to stand up, but a sharp pain shot up your leg. You winced and shook your head, tears streaming down your face. Albedo proceeded to curse under his breath, scooping you up into his arms gently. I'm so sorry. It's all my fault. Let's get you back to Mondstadt. We need to find a way to heal you, he said, trying his absolute best not to panic. And the journey back was grueling, with Albedo carrying you on his back through the snow and ice. But Albedo didn't falter, his determination to save you evident in every step that he took. When you finally arrived at Jean's office, Albedo rushed in, calling out for help. Jean and Barbara rushed to your side, using their healing powers to try and ease your pain, while he stood by your side, holding your hand and apologizing over and over again, his guilt eating at him. I should have been more careful. I should have watched where you were stepping. Please, forgive me, he pleaded, his voice choked with emotion. You could feel the guilt emanating from Albedo, and he knew that he cared for you. It's okay. Really, it wasn't your fault, he whispered, trying to soothe him. But he was still worried and still guilty beyond belief. It was my fault, Juan. I should have been more cautious. I will do anything to make it up to you. I promise, he said, his eyes pleading. He smiled weakly and squeezed his hand. Just having you here by my side is enough. Thank you for taking care of me. Albedo's eyes softened and he leaned in to kiss your forehead. I'll always be here for you no matter what, and I'll make sure nothing like this ever happens again, he said, determination shining in his eyes. You knew that Albedo meant every word, and you felt lucky to have him by your side. Together, you could face any danger in the world, as long as you had the other's arms to go back into. You knew that Albedo would always be your home, and the source of your safety and warmth. And even though you really couldn't do that much for him, you were glad you had him by your side. And so you smiled, reassuring him that everything would be okay, not wanting to see him upset for 1 second.